And this is the beginning of the recording for the Start is Near podcast number. I lost a number. Anybody help me out? What number are we at?
No, I'll number it on the YouTube
I
recordings.
want to say 19.
18.
18?
Okay, 18. I think Doc Time's got it. Hey, great to see you, Doc Time, and welcome everyone to the Start is Near podcast episode 18. And we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in the next couple of hours. And Michael, you might want to mute. We're going to be, and the first thing I have to talk about is to present an update on the plan, the evolving emergent plan for Washington, D.C. and all the high schools in the D.C. area, and then, broadcasting to the world, and then everyone will jump on. But anyway, does anyone have either any updates or inputs or comments or questions, or for that matter, agenda items that they'd like to propose? Passing the feather.
Well, I don't have any. Well, just a suggestion at some stage that we might, if you're going to be talking about the Paul Beckwith situation, I would refer. I'll put it into the chat there. I'll put in the link for the video to his latest video, which is on a peer-reviewed paper that just came out, and very much at the end of it is very important to listening to what Paul Beckwith says, because he talks about how important it is now for us to get this education into the younger people. So it's very much along the lines of what we're saying. We're almost on the same wavelength, so we just need to get the connection sorted quick.
Okay, so after I present the general update about Washington, D.C., James, would you be good enough to play just the last few minutes of that Paul Beckwith video? You'll screen share it? Okay, great. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, updates, or additions to the agenda? Passing the feather.
Not on my part. Although James, I thought you said you put it in the chat. I don't see it.
I wanted to thank Doc Time for joining us so quickly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Doc Time.
Yeah.
No problem at all. I mean, it's a regular thing now to be part of the hive mind, right?
Amen. Hallelujah. Woo! And I don't know what's up with Mike Hillcup. He's probably doing somersaults with that.
No, I'm right here. Don't worry.
All right. Passing the feather.
Hey, yesterday I was able to have a conversation with two gentlemen who worked in the field of AI, and it's on my YouTube channel for anyone who wants to check it out. And I got to ask some questions that has led me to believe that we don't have to worry about the AI taking over on its own, and B, we have to worry about the people who use AI taking over by using the AI. And so it was eye-opening, but anything we do in here using AI to read scripts and do counting for us and maybe some editing is not gonna go further into the AI to be used by other people. However, the developers of the AI that we use will have some say about what we're doing because we're using their platform. So maybe what we do is we have it so that when it comes time to use the AI within our teaching and realize our audience is going to be much better at it than we are, let's have some criteria where we can have people creating media and evaluate the media and have awards and other things going so that people who get it can share how they got it and just make it all the more effective at that. Passing feather.
Well, I did
Yeah,
want to
that's a
add, Doc. Oh, sorry, Jamin. Just to add,
no.
I
I
watched.
just.
Yep. Go
Oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, it's
So
okay.
yeah, I just wanted to say, why don't we just add that as the next agenda item to talk about AI after James shares the Paul Beckwith video, so which will be the second agenda item after Washington D.C., which is the first. So now we've got 3 agenda items, and Mike, you were about to say, go ahead.
I was just gonna let Doc know, which I already did. I watched that video, Doc. It was very informative, and I think I took similar conclusions away as you did. So, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
All right. Any other questions, comments, updates, or agenda items to be added to today's agenda? All right, then, without further ado, we are recording the agenda for starters, and then we can, of course, add whatever we want afterwards and absolutely an afterglow. So every topic will be covered. We're going to start with Washington, D.C. high schools, followed by Paul Beckwith updates and the integration of the two, followed by a conversation about AI. All right. So with that, starting with the first agenda items, Washington, D.C. high schools. Starting with Montgomery County, Maryland, which is home to, I don't know, half a dozen prominent public high schools plus private high schools. And so Darth Vegan, who you all know, and company, it's Darth Vegan Inc. It's all of us. And so, you know, the more of us who are out there supporting and participating, I mean, the idea is we make this literally the thing. This becomes the big it, is Washington, D.C. high schools. Because next thing you know, we're going around to all the high schools in the whole Washington, D.C. area, not just in one county, but in all the, I don't know, 5 or 6 counties. How many counties is it that makes up the greater DC area, right? My father graduated high school in one of the great public high schools in Montgomery County, BCC High School, Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. And Sienna's kids go to their rival high school, which is Winston Churchill. So we're already straight out of the gate, we're hitting, and these are, oh my goodness, well-funded. These are the children of the elites of Washington, D.C., the policymakers of not only the federal government, but also, you know, United Nations, so at a worldwide level, et cetera, et cetera. So we're talking about, so here's the scenario. So Darth Vegan shows up with sound system and everything, and you know, a whole bunch of volunteers, a whole bunch of mothers of these high school students who are volunteering for this. And we show up and we do food healers, starting out there in Montgomery County, but soon we'll be sending truckloads of food to the poorer areas of the greater DC area. I mean, my goodness, there are some parts of Baltimore that are so poverty stricken. I mean, they look like some, I don't know, some poor city in West Africa or something like that. I mean, they look absolutely terrible. And kids are on the streets begging, and I mean, it's just, it's kind of unbelievable. And it's right there, a stone's throw from the most powerful political capital in the world, right? You know, what does all that tell you? So we're in this city that doesn't make any sense, this vast metropolis that doesn't make any sense. And we're, and yet incredibly powerful, right? And incredibly misguided, right? By all the corruption from the military industrial complex, corruption from all different, from so many different quarters. Anyway, I'm going to stop going off about that and talk about what's actually going to happen. So Darth Vegan shows up, say, on a Saturday, right? And kicks off with some performances, or a performance that goes for all day at the most prominent intersection in Montgomery County, you know. And we kick it off then. We do Saturday, we do Sunday. We take appropriate breaks throughout the week, but basically go Saturday through Friday. And during the week, whether one day or all 5 days, Monday through Friday, we host food healers for the students and teachers and parents and friends and, you know, administrators and you know, basically it's the high school throwing a big party for the community. And with music, with art, with, you know, whether it's short-term ephemeral public art or whatever kind of art installations, there's going to be comedy, there's going to be conversations galore, right, that we're going to be having. There's going to be, you know, of course, music, dancing, and then after the events of the day, such as they are, you know, different groups can host actual physical meetings at the houses of these mother volunteers who are so into what we're doing. And I would say that, you know, so we open it up with food and music and art and emotion and, you know, satisfying so many of these beautiful human needs that get us out of bed in the morning, you know, the need for community, for companionship, etc. So we're just bam, 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 just blasting into the mind. And then, you know, our big question for everyone, which we may only pose at the end of the week or whatever, is who among you wants to know the truth about the polycrisis? Those who want to know the truth about the polycrisis, because we do too, right? So let's go find that truth together. Let's uncover it. Let's discover it. Let's develop it. Let's co-create it, right? Because part of the truth is, you know, what's the reality of our present situation? What's, you know, what's the degree of the polycrisis across each and every one of these measurable dimensions, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you, Doc Time, for bringing measurement into it. And so, you know, what's the current analysis? What's the complete holistic analysis of it all, of the polycrisis, and the way things ought to be? You know, I'll just leave that as a blank space where we can fill it in later, put that in the parking lot. What is our telos? What should we be trying to achieve? And then what is the gap between the optimal and where we are now, and how severe is it? How urgent is it? Et cetera, et cetera. And then beyond that analysis, that objective analysis, there is the realm of solutioneering, where we're basically saying, okay, let's apply our collective genius, our chizzy, to this problem and come up with, or simply uncover, as in the case of marine cloud brightening, uncover or discover or co-create or, you know, co-engineer, co-design, whatever, co-adapt, co-mash up. You guys are smart people. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But create the realm of solutions to our most daunting problems, right? And so we state that explicitly as this is what we're up to. And we're doing it here in Washington, D.C. We're doing it we've done it in Glasgow, Scotland. We're doing it on Whidbey Island, Washington. We're doing it in, Port Huron, Michigan.
Don't
We're,
forget the motors, don't forget
the Motor City, Detroit. Exactly. Heck
We're
yeah.
dancing in the street.
We're dancing in the streets. Exactly. So, we blast into the minds of Washington, D.C., greater Washington, D.C., people of all ages, by going straight to the high schools. People are like, all right, what are they trying to teach, force down our kids' throats now? People get defensive. So, of course, they're interested in what they're trying to teach Johnny down at the high school. They hear about this whole thing. Who's Darth Vegan? What? Right? And there I am singing Spanish love songs, laying everybody low with a love song that he sang. Do 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 do. Anyway, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And then that's basically right. This is approaching the end of the school year. Could be end of May, could be beginning of June, but right before the end of the school year. And kids are in party mode. And they're getting through finals, and once the finals are, so we give them something to join immediately after school ends, which is kind of like falling off a cliff. There's no more school. It's summer. There's just this massive void that used to be filled up with all this schoolwork and homework and studying for tests and after school athletics and other after school activities, blah 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 blah. Now it's just like there's nothing. So we are the loving arms of Chizzy and the Poly Crisis, saying, hey, come on over, right? And then they come over and they join the conversation about the Poly Crisis, and or they volunteer for food healers, and or they start talking about something else specific, like marine cloud brightening, the overheating of the planet. And listen, this is just like one of those big, pressurized, bombastic pimples that just says, pop me, baby, pop me. And you pop it and it splatters all over the bathroom mirror. This is that moment. It's either pop or get off the pot, right? Pop that nasty pimple, homeboy. Pop that nasty pimple, homeboy. That way it's unforgettable. This moment is unforgettable. It's time to pop the fucking pimple all over the bathroom mirror, dripping down like a horror movie, or like Mike just got too excited or something. I don't know, but pop that nasty, it's got to be unforgettable. So just like that pimple blasts into your mind and bathroom mirror forever, we are blasting into the minds of the spat communities of Washington, D.C., the most powerful political capital on earth. Okay. We got food healers. Okay. We've got cooling the planet. We've got nuclear war, right? We've got hunger. We've got basic human needs. We've got all these things that everyone's been talking about for decades, but no one's been able to do anything about. And we're basically coming to the table and saying, we can master all of this in one holistic, integrated set of solutions, from mega solutions such as Chizzy to meta solutions such as Universal Logic. All kinds of meta solutions and platforms. Welcome. Let this be like a carnival for all these different meta solutions, platform solutions, specific solutions, solutions across any and every realm, from as specific as heat and water and hydrologic cycle to all the way to, the most esoteric solutions, spiritual solutions, cultural transformation solutions, whatever. All solutions welcome, and all platforms for solutions and meta solutions welcome. Let's bring everything to bear. As we say in Mexico, vamos a poner toda la carne al asador. and let's throw all the meat on the grill, 100% all in. And we go straight for blasting into the minds of all the SPAC communities in the whole greater DC area. And of course, the nation will be watching. If a bunch of high schools in Washington, DC area are all getting together and doing this amazing thing, and there's some dude named Darth Vegan who legalized pot and then went after the drug cartels and then is out there feeding, or, people don't follow movements, they follow leaders. It's time for Darth Vader Inc. I happen to be the guy in the suit, but believe me, I'm not doing this to self-promote. I do love it. But anyway, if anyone has a problem with this particular leader becoming the Fidel Castro of the moment, say so. But know that it's Fidel Castro Inc. It's not, one dude with a big ass ego. I do have some ego, but I don't think it's out of control. You guys know me. Anyway, I'm going to pass the feather because it's getting a little bit personal now. And I want to hear from the rest of you about Darth Vader Inc. basically taking over DC. You all watched, Something Does Dallas, but this is about Vader Does DC.
I suppose that makes me Che Guevara, Jamin, but I'll pass to Marco.
No, you are Che Guevara. You are Che Guevara. That's exactly right. Now, Pastor Marco, who's
I just want
probably
to point out.
he's not Marcos. He's Matos. Humberto Matos. Humberto Matos. Okay, go ahead, Capitan Humberto.
I just want to point out, when you threw all that meat on the grill, that was plant-based meat.
Oh, plant-based meat's the only meat that exists in my world. So yes, plant-based meat. Thank you.
Make sure we're not getting off on the wrong track there. And I'll pass the feather because I'm just happy you're all here.
Go ahead, Doc.
I'd like to pick up the feather for a moment. As one of the outcomes that we're desiring from the collective of people that we activate, let's have them make media for us to use in convincing more people. And let's collect the media and find ways of rewarding the people that create media. And then let's duplicate the process in a whole bunch of other areas so that people are not necessarily all talking to each other in the same area. There's 15 different groups talking about the same topics. Maybe somebody will come up with different solutions. Marco.
Yeah, that's perfect, Doc. You're reading my mind. I was just trying to make that point earlier, and then I lost track of it because I wasn't keeping notes. We need to start having, good quality video that explains things in short bites. We all know it's all been scientifically calculated what the right size is, and we got to keep that in mind too. And I think we need to start building a few different slide decks that we've talked about many times when we had the talk, we've done recordings, but we never put together slide decks so that when we go to present somewhere, we can be precise and have some references for them to see. We need to get a little more professional.
I also think we should work to the point where we start bringing in critics of our approaches so that we can hear from the other side and make it so that we can have some real solutions rather than just the group of us who think similarly, making solutions for everyone else. Marco.
He was just applauding you, Doc. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
I'd like to.
I was just applauding. So to whoever's next.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm not going to try to raise my hand. I'm just going to speak up when I don't want to interrupt anyone, but that's my way of raising my hand.
Yeah,
anyway,
following up with Doc Time's comment about media, I input in the chat box United Earth Fund, which is an organization, a nonprofit that teaches college students journalism skills. So that might be an outlet for us to help, for them to help us. I'm I'm friends with the director, executive director, Al Licari. There's some good MC5 and Joe Walsh songs on that website as well. Doc Time. Thank you all.
Okay, so I got my hand raised. Marco, will you direct traffic, please? Kind of, or no, we got Mike Hillcoat here. Shit, what are we messing around for? Mike, would you please
I was
direct
trying.
traffic?
Yeah, I was trying. I don't know if Jack wants to speak before you go, Jamin, but Jack, you did unmute.
Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
Oh, he was just. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and I am about to head out. There's a couple things I want to talk about at some point, but not now. But anyway, I just want to remind you that Fidel Castro wasn't that bad a guy. I don't know why you don't want to be a Fidel. He was pretty good, and almost all the Cubans, I think, really liked him, except for the ones who were making a lot of money off the you know, gambling and various other you know, things,
Yeah,
taking advantage
that
of people.
that's
Maybe
the
he did
reason
have a big ego. I don't know. That could be.
No, he had an enormous
But anyway,
ego.
I don't want to get off on that track any further. I just want to. The other things were just a quick answer. Is what you're trying to do with Cheesy something to like raid, like the raids that they call. Have you ever heard of those? Where people that are in one meeting on you know, Zoom or something like that, and then what they call raid at somebody else's program. And the reason I'm bringing this up,
It was Zoom bombing, Jack.
huh?
Zoom bombing. It was
Zoom
when
bombing?
people like trolls would come through. Anyways, I got your thought.
Anyway, so you guys know what I'm talking about. And then the other last thing that you may or may not get around to today is something I think called Discord. And I'm gonna check that out. But Discord is kind of something that you are. So are you aware of that, Michael?
Yeah,
good.
Doc and I have Discord as a back channel already, so it's something that we're familiar with. It's yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that those topics, because they sound like things like that Jamin and the rest of you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well anyway, you guys have fun. Always happy to see how much progress you guys are making towards what you want to do, and that's great. So
Thank you, Jack.
hasta la vista.
Thanks for being here, Jack. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to see you, Jack. Thanks for being here. Come back anytime.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jack.
I don't know, Jamin, if you want to do much more on that or if you want to go to James and Paul, but it's up to you.
Well,
Yeah,
I just want to throw something real quick. It was kind of subtle, but you notice that Jack said it's so good to see the progress you're making. So even though we don't always see it, if it's visible to somebody who's, you know, a little bit more on the outside, then that's a good thing.
Jamin, go ahead, my friend, if you're ready. Or if Desmond's ready, James, I don't know if you're still listening there, but we can. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to complete one topic before we then shift gears.
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
So let's make sure everyone's complete on this one first. I've had my hand raised for a bit, and but I'll be patient. Let me just call me in whenever you're ready.
No, you're good. Go ahead, James.
Okay. So in terms of media, what I love about what Doc Time said about having, you know, prizes or distinctions or recognitions for those who come up with the you know, the best media, as Doc Time described, that really captures the essence of what we're doing, so that can be promoted on various other media, whether TikTok or Discord or you name it. So that's a great idea. And another thing that I love is that all of that would exist within a much broader context of decentralized media creation and publication and promotion and discourse based on that media. That's going to happen, that everyone's going to do anyway, right? So anyway, so there's just going to be a flurry of media. I mean, come on, this is 2024. People know how to find the stuff that they're looking for. And this is the kind of stuff that a lot of people are looking for. What the heck is humanity doing? And it kind of comes from the most unlikely place. This corrupt Gotham City of a political capital, the most powerful political capital of the world, the capital city of the Hunger Games. And what are we doing? We're ending hunger. We're ending hunger in the capital city of the Hunger Games. How cool is that? You know, so all these analogies are going to bust forward as we blast into the mind. And I described it last night as not just one Trojan horse, but a whole stampede of Trojan horses. And when we see what happens is when we blast into the mind, we blast open the mind. And the proverbial gates to the castle, to the kingdom, to very temporarily open up. Once the mind is open, you can get semi trucks in there. You can get cargo ships. You can get skyscrapers in there. You know, once the mind is open, it's like everything in. Come on, okay, what do you got? What do you know? Because they're in the process of figuring out who the bleep are we. And the answer to that question turns out to be so rich, so delicious, so thermonuclear. You know, not just megatons of TNT, but like freaking gigatons, teratons. Boom! We blast in, baby. Like, who's this Darth Vegan feeding all these poor black kids in Baltimore? You know, what the hell? And their families and their grandmas, you know, war-torn Baltimore. This is very close to Johns Hopkins University. It's absolutely incredible how poor these parts of Baltimore are. But anyway, so we're making the food in DC and shipping it next door to Baltimore, hot and fresh, serving it up, right, with Darth Vegan music. And can you imagine how my beautiful soul music is going to resonate in the black communities of Baltimore? Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Boom, boom. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ba-da-da. From the stair steps. Give me some, Michael. And, you know, all the way to, you know, let's get right back to where we started from. Where did we start from? Community, where food was free, where we all cared for each other. And it's all right, and it's coming home. We gotta get right back to where we started from. Soul music, my brothers. Give me some, give me some. Boom, boom, boom. Soul music with soul food that happens to be plant-based. What's going on here? Oh my goodness. The vegan community is going to explode. There will be caravans going to Baltimore. Of people coming to Baltimore to roll up their sleeves, right? Sanitize themselves, put on food grade gloves up to the elbows, and get in there and make delicious, nutritious, safe, gourmet plant-based stew, free for everyone, basic human right. We're taking DC and turning it upside down, and we're saying, listen, we're taking what the government should be. Its number one function of government should be making sure the people have food to eat, for crying out loud, right?
When you're ready, Jamin, Michael raised his hand.
Go for it, Michael.
Yeah, in preparation for our rollout in Maryland, or I forgot, Montgomery County, I think.
Yeah,
perhaps
Montgomery
we should
County, Maryland. That's right.
Working on our short bios for each of us. That would be really powerful support for us approaching them. If we had a short couple paragraph bio of most of our main members, that's worth doing.
Yeah. Okay. So
everybody pushing that for
everybody get your bio together is the bottom line of that. Everyone get your bio together. Get it ready. Right. Okay. Good.
Well, I will ask the room if anyone else wants to complete before we ask Desmond to jump in.
It's James Desmond.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm distinguishing him from my gym.
Okay.
It's Desmond and Finch, right?
All right.
Sorry, yeah, sorry about that. Just cleaning brushes. Yeah, do you want me to do the screen share there, or what's the crack?
Yeah. That'd be wonderful, James. That'd be wonderful. Please, thank you.
Well,
And but
actually,
just the last few minutes, like you were saying, where
yeah,
he
yeah,
talked about the
I'm only putting on the poignant part of it anyway. I don't want to waste your time, but I put the link in the chat. Take the time yourselves to watch it. You get the gist of where I'm coming from then when you watch it in its entirety. But the point is, I put on the point that I was on about. It's only kind of in relation to the polycrisis, the actual study itself, and the fact that he mentions education. We need to put this proper information and education into the younger people's minds, which will fall into place of what they're trying to do with the high schools. I think it's best if we like look, Jim, and I don't want to be rude or anything, but you know what I mean. I've heard I've heard this the dark vegan one, and it does draw the crowd and it does that, like, but it's not going to do what we're trying to do anyway. That's what I'm going to say. It'll be one of the things, as Mark was saying, we're trying lots of different things, so it's a great thing to draw people and everything else. Let's see if we can get some inclusivity with Paul Beckwood or something, or someone else influential as well. And as to what Doc Time was talking about there with little snippets of information, media snippets for because look, we're talking about young people. You said it yourself, man, they're going to be all finished in high school, they're off for the summer. Why would they want to stop outside the fucking high school on the last day to head out the door and listen to somebody talk for about an hour about global warming and polycrisis when he's in a happy fucking humor? Like, you don't want to hear the world's ending then. You know what I mean? That's the wrong timing as far as I'm concerned anyway. I just saying, as I said prior to the start of this, like, let's not rush into anything at all. I'm very much like, take the time, as you said yourself, man. It's an old expression. Take your 5 hours to chop down a tree, take 4 hours to sharpen the axe. You know what I'm saying? So let's take our time to make the planning right. If we want to do something and we want to get the attraction you're talking about, then we got to do something a hell of a lot more what you're proposing, or a lot more combined than what you're proposing. And it has to be online for the young people because that's where they live, online. Let's face it. So all I'm saying is just put that in there, just think about what I'm saying there anyway, is what I'm saying. Everything that we're all talking about and everybody that's coming here to the podcast over the last number of weeks has invaluable, everybody has their contributions work, like everybody's coming from a different place, but we all have a bit to throw in. What I'm saying, that's what the whole thing is about anyway. The more of us, the more we'll sort together. That's the whole plan. So let's model that, is what I'm saying. Let's not go running off down another fucking rabbit hole, is what I'm saying, like chasing another white rabbit or whatever. I'm just saying, let's make the plan. Let's make sure it's going to be, we've got everything covered before we rush into anything. That's all I'm saying. Take the time out for that anyway. I'd say that's my 2 pence worth. And I'll share the video there, the last couple of minutes or 10 minutes of the video, just to get you an idea what I'm talking about.
Michael, he's going to be sharing a screen, but do you want to go quickly before he starts the video?
Yeah, just a quick note regarding planning. I wonder if we could consider like a 4-week summer program, early summer program for the students after school, or when school lets out, to continue it into the first month of summer, like a summer camp almost, where we could have a couple times a week, we could gather and work together. And there could be some credits given to the students that do appear. And then we'll have our new set of leaders to help us. Thank you.
James, when you're ready, my friend.
Very frank report. It doesn't pull punches. It talks about how dire things are. And it does have a lot of suggestions that we need. We can't avoid rapid and legitimate decarbonization, okay, if we want to remain on this planet. We need to revise the basis for decision making under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. Right, they have unanimous voting, right? That's crazy. One nation votes against it, the whole thing doesn't pass. That's insane. Need to build a new era of reciprocity and kinship with nature. Use indigenous knowledge would go a long way to helping us in this area. Implementing sustainable regenerative practices, eliminating the environmentally harmful subsidies. It doesn't say specifically subsidies for fossil fuels, but that's what it means. promote gender justice, accelerate human development in the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal sectors, in low and middle income nations, relieve debt. Okay, we need a shift of values. So how do we achieve these above goals? Well, we need education, and more education of young people, sustainability and equity concepts, and policy, legal framework, and legislation, economic incentives, cross-sector partnerships, community empowerment, corporate responsibility and accountability. This is our wish list: incentives for sustainable, equitable behavior, innovation in tech, leadership and commitment, cultural narratives, global engagement. And this is not happening. Right? This is not happening. So here's the history: imperialism, population growth, extractive relationship with nature. It's causing these disease, climate change, biodiversity loss, socioeconomic inequality, and pollution. Right? That image I showed you at the very beginning. And here's what we need to do for a just and sustainable future. All of these different things, right? All of them can chip away at the problem and bring us back to where we want to be. But is this happening? No, it's not happening. So that's the gist of the paper.
Very cool, James. You want to, yeah, keep going, please.
Yeah, so look, I mean, that's just a taste, a little gist of the latest. But my point is, what he's talking about, I don't know what connection was made between Sienna and himself, or if any had been made, or anything. Did they get in touch, like, personally, like, and talk on the phone or anything?
No, they haven't talked. She's sent him messages via Facebook, and he like has given thumbs up and read them. So there's some minimal degree of back and forth. But anyway, back to you, Jim.
Right. Okay. So, like, what I'm saying, like, is if we're going to do something and you're going to do something public, you need to have something that's going to really draw the attention. No offense, no, Jim, and I'm not saying you're not going to draw the attention. I'm just going to say you're not going to draw all the attention. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not everybody's interested in being vegan either. Like, you know what I'm saying? So let's face it. So the point is, like, we have to have something to draw most. So you need something anyway if you're going to do something public, right? And you want to get this kind of information into them. The best way to get this kind of information into them is to have, as I said, on, like, Doc Time was talking about, little media clips with little bits of information. Let's make links and put them onto what you call them, scan codes, barcode, whatever those codes are. You know what I mean? Put little links on those and adapt them to little videos of Paul Beckwith or whatever.
QR codes, James.
Yeah, QR, and so we could do something like that you could pass them out to the as they're coming out and they're under great humor and everything. Here, have a quick chat with you, get their attention, give them the leaflet, they can go and do the research themselves. But there's also the link then to the room, and also an invitation to Paul Beckwith. So prior to that, we need to get on to Paul Beckwith and let him know that we're working on a similar thing to what he's working on, but we're trying to expand what he's trying to do in a much larger way, and to educate, as he's been saying. So we need to get on. I'm going to have to make an effort to try and get on to him personally myself and get him on board with it. But what I'm saying is, even if he made an appearance there on the day himself, another key figure, like, you know what I mean? But he can hand out the leaflet or whatever, just talk with a few people, you know what I mean? But we need somebody else. We need more than that. That's what I'm saying. You need to make this a big kind of a splash to get the attention you want. And, not everybody, as I said, no offense, is vegan, and not everybody, as they're coming round to college, is going to stop and engage in a long-term conversation when they're just finished on their last day. They're gone, man. They're thinking of beer and party night. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I'm being realistic about it. What I'm saying, it's all in one. It's all in combined. What I'm saying is, take the time, plan it properly, and execute it. Let's get it done right, like, you know what I mean, this time, because we're running out of time to do it, and we can't chase no more rabbit holes. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, if I'm coming across wrong. Sorry if I insulted the German, but my fault.
James, you're fine.
I'll tell you the way it is. It's as simple as that. And I shut up now because I don't want to go droning on. Passing the feather.
Well, Doc, go ahead and then pass it to Jamin afterwards.
I think one of the things that James is right on about is the timing of when it takes place in relation to the school year. And that having something set up 2 weeks down the road for summer for people who were excited when you made the presentation and signed up will carry them, just like the camp that Michael suggested. I also have noted in the past that high school students are terribly busy in the month of September, and by early October, they're bored silly and looking for something to do. And that's about the time the teachers start getting them involved in doing senior projects and other things. And we're now at the stage where it's not bad for sophomores and freshmen to start thinking about what they want to do for their senior project. So I think that it's really important that we get those voices talking and have them doing the teaching so that the students we have over the summer become the players in the roles in the learning environments that we create in the fall. And I think that satisfies James's need for planning and gives us something beyond the initial without taking away from the initial. Passing to you, Jamin.
Okay, thanks, Doc Time, and thank you, James. I think, well, there's one little elephant in the room I want to address, which is connecting Paul Beckwith to this whole effort and inviting him to come down as a speaker. I think if he gets an invitation to come to Washington, D.C. to address not only the high school students, but the community, that's huge. And we can get whatever venue, even if we have to pay for it, but we get a venue. And we get Paul Beckwith in there, and he gives maybe an evening talk with Q&A that's recorded and broadcast and all kinds of good things, right? I'm just trying to lower my hand here. Okay, boom. And feel free to do that for me if I start talking. And so that's one thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do, and we've got some time to plan because we're talking about something which is, around 2 months from now. So we've got 2 months to plan it out, right? So rather than taking a perspective that, okay, the only thing I've heard about it is what I've heard, and that doesn't sound like enough, so I'm going to, basically say, whoa, it needs more. Well, be specific. What more does it need? Paul Beckwith, we've identified. Free food. Sienna said this morning in conversation that nothing excites these kids more than free food, because what that's really doing is it's creating community. They yearn for community. They're not a whole lot different from us. We're all human. We all yearn for community. We yearn to belong. And so this is us fulfilling that yearning.
Yeah, sure.
So between food, music, the story of who the hell is this whacked out, washed up, Darth Vegan. Well, the Darth Vegan we don't emphasize too much. It's Jamin Shively is the dude's name, if you want to know. We don't overemphasize veganism because we don't want to turn people off. People like their hamburgers, their hot dogs, their turkey dinners, their whatever the hell, salmon bakes, clam bakes, so we don't emphasize veganism. It's just free food, free, delicious. Now we say it's plant-based, but we don't make a big deal out of it. We don't say shame on you for eating meat, right? We just say, try this. And with the music, it creates community. People will be dancing. And then, of course, we're going to have all their mothers on board in advance. That's a huge advantage, right? And so there'll be all this positive buzz about it. And then Darth Vegan shows up on a Saturday playing music, giving away free food, talking with people, and then we go Saturday, Sunday, Monday through Friday, and at some point during the week we start having organized lunches for the high school students, maybe, in their lunchroom. We bring the stew and the agua fresca right to their lunchroom. And we feed them and give them these delicious agua fresca drinks, all natural and everything, sweetened with agave syrup, if anything, not over sweetened. You get the idea. And delicious plant-based stew, and bread, and whatever else, rice. I don't know. We'll get it all. We've already got it pretty much dialed in from our years of experience in Los Angeles and Arizona and Texas, etc.
Keep going, Jamin, unless you want to pass it back to Desmond.
So, okay. So, thank you. Sorry about that. Someone was distraction there, but I think from the get-go, we're going to be firing on all cylinders, and that's what we focus: free food for everyone. And we say this is something that governments all around the world should have as their number one priority: feed their people. But since their main priority is feed their pocketbooks, then they buy into a system where it's so based on money that even if you want to eat, you have to have money. So it's really a money-based system. And so we're here to bring back community, and to bring back taking care of each other. I mean, how are we going to take care of all the rest of the species if we can't even take care of our own species? So no negative thinking. Let's just do it. And so we come in blasting with food healers. And, later we talk about cooling the planet. Later we talk about the poly crisis for those who want to hear, because we first ask the question, do you want to know the truth about the poly crisis? For those who don't, well, we don't point them into Zoom rooms like this where we address it head on, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So that becomes like an important filter. And anyway, with that, I think you guys get what I'm saying. Let's just go right to the belly of the beast, right? Diablo hot sauce from Michigan, right to the heart of it. And address the poly crisis for those who are ready, but start with food, friends, and fun. Food, friends, fun, music, boom, 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 boom. It's going to be one hell of a party. Okay. And that's what'll turn these kids on. Sienna said nothing excites kids more than free food because it brings them together. It's the food and the community and the music and the story and the opportunity to share and celebrate together. They're used to going out to restaurants off campus during lunch, driving somewhere, eating something, driving back, blah, 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 but all in their own bubbles. This brings the whole school together right there in the cafeteria. Free food in the cafeteria. Whoa, what's the world coming to? Right? And music and then anyway, I've said it enough. I think I'm starting to repeat myself. I love you all, and thanks for listening and passing the feather.
Well, Michael has a particular set of skills, but Michael, go ahead.
Thank you. I wouldn't negate the idea of approaching Frank's Red Hot Sauce as a sponsor to spice up our stew, our vegan stew. But that's a side issue. I'm always looking for sponsors, but I thought also, I wonder if we could have a presence on a big screen of our Zoom participants to join the presenters as a group of supporting actors. We could show it on the stage with all of us present. That would be a solid group of mentors for the kids. Thank you.
I love that. Jamin, go ahead. or you've muted, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and I love the idea. I love that idea, and I love the idea of the summer camp. You know, and it could be day camp, whatever. You know, you just a couple times a week you go to the high school or whatever. You go to some community center. Could be a public park. Could be a public library. Whatever the venue, and it can move around. You get together, and whether you do food healers or whether you do Chizzy or whether you do marine cloud brightening or whatever your topic, there's so many areas in which they can get directly involved and, address the poly crisis, which suddenly becomes the elephant in the room, right? Are you going to address it or not? Do you want to know the truth about the poly crisis? Yes or no? That's why that's such an important filter. Anyway, love it all. Passing the feather. And Paul Beckwith, my goodness, he becomes a major feature. And then we get his Canadian ass out on the street, with Darth Vegan serving the food and talking with the kids. Yeah, I went to your talk last night and I went home and I talked with my parents and is it really blah, 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 whatever. And then we can have an open conversation with Paul Beckwith on the title of which will be, It's the Heat, Stupid. Right? I mean, I heard him on what James just said, talking about, decarbonization. That's fine. But,
just a brief note, I wonder if we could give them a certificate of completion for their resume.
Yeah. They're going to get SSL hours just for participating in the free lunch, for crying out loud. So we're going to be handing out SSL hours to these kids, and Sienna and what's her name have that sorted out. But anyway, so we're just creating this party and we're bringing it right to the heart of the school, ideally into the lunchroom, with the free food and all that. And we're just going to be partying it up and bringing Paul Beckwith and bringing myriad other speakers. We can have we can have Chief Phil Lane Jr., we can have Sister Ejna, we can invite folks from Ireland. Will they come? I don't know. But we invite them, right? We invite everybody, and see who shows up. And that can be an activity that the kids can even get involved in before the actual event, before Darth Vegan shows up in late May or whenever, right?
I don't know if you were just breathing there or not, Jamin, but if not, Doc,
just breathe. I'm sorry.
No, Doc's ready when you're ready.
Passing the feather.
I was wondering, any assessment of what the costs of this high school project are going to be?
No. Mm-mm. But here's the thing, like, what the main costs are going to be the cost of food. And we're going to make runs to Costco and get van loads of produce and potatoes and, beans and rice and whatnot. It's not that expensive. I basically funded the operations in Los Angeles at a time when we were doing it, like once a month. And it's not a huge deal. It's partly because of the inherent efficiency of buying like a big sack of potatoes, a big sack of carrots, organic, from Costco. And also, I mean, a lot of the mothers who are going to say, "Oh, I want to volunteer here. I'll go get food at Costco," and we say, "Okay, thank you. Can we reimburse you?" No, I got this. People are just going to start kicking in, and and they'll be proudly kicking in because their little Johnny is learning about solving a major world problem right in his home county, right? Cooking up vast quantities of plant-based food. Well, this plant-based thing, I don't know about that, but hey, they say it's got full nutrition and they even add vitamin B to the stew. So it's like truly full spectrum nutrition. And So hey, I'm all for it. I mean, who the hell is going to be opposed to giving away nutritious, delicious gourmet plant-based stew to poor black kids? I mean, come on, right? Yep, go Johnny. And so everyone's going to be like super psyched about it. And there's just nothing but positive about it. And then from there, it becomes Operation Rolling Thunder as we go from, issue to issue, right? Literally solving whole world problems. Global warming, no problem. Marine cloud brightening is the solution. Oh, but we want to do it through decarbonization. You can't do it through decarbonization. Do the math. It's the heat, stupid, and we've got to cool the planet. I mean, like when you hear that for the 17th time, I hope it just totally just blasts in, and you're like, fuck yeah, we've got to cool the planet. So we feed everybody plant-based foods, we cool the planet, and with those three things alone, we're off to a massive start because we create a platform for meeting all basic human needs as basic human rights, cooling the planet, saving the biosphere, going plant-based. Cooling the planet and going plant-based are the two biggest things you can do to save the biosphere and stop the sixth mass extinction. This is so clear, okay? And for anyone for whom it's not clear, okay, let's go into breakout room number 17 and go deep into the data and the models and, everything that is humanly known about this. But we don't know everything. I know that, but here's what we do know, and here's where the data is pointing us. With
You've
that, I
got
pass it back.
you've got doc time opening a notebook there, Jamin. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I recommend we link up with Farm Aid with regard to our local food sources in Montgomery County, the local producers, because we want to build a bridge between our family farmers and the youngsters. And there's a lot of music component to Farm Aid as well. They also have funding for a program like ours. So it's worth, when we're boosting the family farmers, we're helping Farm Aid. So it's worth, they're based out in the East Coast.
It's
somewhere.
mutually reciprocal, right, Michael?
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
No, keep going, my friend. You didn't have to stop. I was just saying it's reciprocal.
That leads us to the natural connection with a major concert where Darth Vegan would be a featured performer. And we're going to have to record Darth Vegan's songs. The kids are going to want to download those on Spotify, Pandora, whatever. Thank you. We'll get you.
It's like Doc said about media. Yeah.
We'll get you in the studio, Darth Vegan. Thank you.
No, love it. Absolutely love it. No, this thing's going to go crazy. And for all the right reasons. It's a success just waiting to burst out. And again, back to the pimple analogy. Sorry if that grosses you out. I'm actually not sorry, because that helps blast it into the mind. We're going to be blasting this whole thing into the mind. And this pimple is so pressure. It's super pressure. All you have to do is look at the damn thing and it's going to explode in your face, right? That we're dancing around. We're like two 40-year-old virgins on our 8th date on a Saturday night, and we've got all the green lights in the world. I mean, what the hell are we can we finally just lose the clothes and freaking do it? What are we dancing around for? This is popping the damn pimple with more blasting media than it actually needs. We're going to overblast this thing, and it's going to be Pimple Mountain erupting all over DC with the truth, right? That's a nice line. What's all this gooey stuff all over town? That's the truth. That's my truth. That's my special truth serum, baby. Right? So, we're blasting in with the truth for those who want it. If you don't want it, break out the umbrella, right? Hope it withstands, because it's just going to be gushing down. No, Pimple Mountain is just waiting to burst, and we show up with this kind of blasting media. It's overkill. We got this. Passing the feather. Any doubts, put them on the table, because I'll satisfy them.
I'm not sure if Doc or Desmond, James, either of you want to go, or anyone else, please jump in. But I know that Marco's kind of in and out there.
Nope, I want to see us pull this off and continue and have enough so that we can expand the group and then break out into all sorts of problems and then reconvene the expanded group and break out and solve some more problems, and then have the youth that have joined us in the process form an even bigger expanded group and continue to expand and contract in operating groups that can talk to each other and big groups that can push forth things to get done. But I don't think we have to worry about fighting the old system because I don't see it as being here in 5 years. So let's go do it in DC. And if you want, I'm sure I could find something that I can be Obi-Wan Kenobi or something.
I love you, Doc.
Love it, love it. Please come out to DC, be Obi Uncle Lenny, and Uncle Lenny. That'd be perfect.
Can't afford it. But
We'll
Can't
figure
afford
that
it?
out, Doc. We'll figure
no, I
that
can't
out.
afford air travel. It messes my body too much.
Oh, yeah. That's
How
understood.
about train? How about train?
Well, planes, trains, and automobiles. Well,
Well,
we'll
trains
see,
and
but
automobiles.
the thing is that we can always do it remote. There's no
Mhm.
reason why I can't give a presentation
Absolutely.
to this very way of
Mhm.
doing things.
Doc Time, where are you located?
I'm in Northern California, outside of Mount Shasta area. Or
I
not,
just want to tell you, I've taken the train cross country 3 times. Taking the Amtrak cross country is unbelievable, and there's a direct line, not direct, but you can get from California to DC really easily. And towards the end, you can take the Excella, which is really fast. So I'm just saying the train is a beautiful place to incubate, and some of the most beautiful scenery that you'll never be able to see. I highly recommend taking that trip at least once. And if you have friends on the other side, who knows?
yeah, I've been on Amtrak down the California
Ah,
coast and then
yeah.
across into Arizona, New Mexico area. And so, no doubt, Amtrak does provide the service, but it's interesting. They provide much better service in the northeastern corridor
Mhm,
than they do going east-west.
definitely.
Okay, thank you, Lena. That's a good idea.
I
But
just, I'm really sensing this like gathering. I'm going out west because I have to for a multitude of reasons, but it's just time for people to come together. It really is, and work on projects and act. It's happening all over the world where cells are coming together, and I've been really observing. So the collective is rising. That is all I have to say in this talk is the collective is rising.
Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I wonder if we
Collective.
could link with like Amtrak or some of the local train uh companies right around Montgomery County. We could transport kids by train into our event. You know, if we can if we can rig that, and maybe it could be a like a weekend type thing where the kids stay at a hotel, where we link up with a hotel and put the kids up in a hotel, They'd really enjoy that, and we could have chaperones. Yeah, thank you.
Doc?
Yes?
Oh, you unmuted. I just wondered if you wanted to jump in there. Otherwise, I was going to pass it back to James.
Oh, pass it back to Jamin. Let's continue.
Or James, I said actually, but
Oh,
James, were you
is
ready to
fine
speak?
for
Yeah.
too.
I know that you came off your camera there, so I assumed that you were ready to speak.
Yeah, look, don't be, I'm not Gemini, as I said, I don't want to insult no one. I wasn't trying to insult no one anyway. Like, that wasn't my, point at all. What I was saying is, I'm very much like, I've always said that, me since the 5 years I've been on the block party. I've always been very much of like, it's like take stepping stones across the stream. Take each stepping stone at a time. Don't try and jump beyond it. Like, that's all I'm saying. And I'm loving everything I'm hearing. I'm not saying anything about it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. A great celebration, but you need more, make it bigger, get it interactive, as Doc Time says, have it online. You know what I mean? People can be there online as well as there in person physically. But also have all the information, the relative information. Try to get it in a succinct and small package as possible of links or whatever, like, you know what I mean? To have the information down in one pamphlet, so to speak, that you could pass out, you know what I mean? All the relevant information that you need to get to them, that you won't give to them because you won't have the time outside of. You'll have the time during the party and the celebration to get that across, get them interested. You'll find the ones who are interested, they'll take the leaflets. I'm just saying, plan all that, have all that ready. That's all I'm saying. Nothing else, everything else, great ideas. But
James, please don't apologize anymore. I've been told to stop giving, or I can't say sorry anymore now that I've crossed the border. But no, James, we need that opinion. Like Doc Time said, we need, and Jamin might not like this, but we need red teams. We need people that are going to engineering style, like bust our systems up and show us what we're, how it's points of failure and so on and so forth. Michael, I don't know if your hand, yeah, if you're keep going.
A quick note. I wonder if we could have a dedicated website for our Montgomery County efforts. That would really build credibility for us. So it might be worth doing. Thank you, Jamin. Thank you all.
Yeah. That was going to be my answer to the tight cluster of URLs that James is legitimately asking for, which is very simply a URL. That's the tightest of the tightest bundles that you can wrap around a cluster of, of links. Web links to videos and whatnot. Because with a URL, you have a homepage and you have a paragraph of text there that they can actually read. They don't have to watch some 5-minute video. So you just read it. And then wherever they want to go deeper, there will be links for that. That's the tightest way to do it. And we could use kindredspirits.earth for that if we wanted to. Make the homepage temporarily about, or the homepage could say, Ireland and then Washington, D.C. Click on which one you want to hear about. Oh, you want to hear about Kindred Spirits Ireland? Great. Here you go. And of course, Washington, D.C.
Michael, do you still have your hand up? Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
There could well be like a sister city situation for local communities with Irish towns and cities that we could build upon. Thank you.
Jamin, just to be cognizant of time. Well, go ahead, but to be cognizant of you're driving. I understand that. I'll give you a heartbeat to get your attention back.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're fine. I was gonna ask, is there, just for the posterity of the recording, because we're on a pretty good kind of pace here for our the things that we had talked about. Does we want to go through a complete cycle, and then we can get to Doc Time and his report with Thomas and Ben about the AI and how that contributes?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and add that in. I would only add that, as we listen to Doc Time, imagine that within Chizzy, there's a whole lobe of the Chizzy brain dedicated to, AI relations, shall we say.
Well, that was kind of, what we've talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chizzy AI relations. So just think about everything you're about to hear from Doc Time in the context of Chizzy AI relations. Passing the feather.
And Doc, if you're ready, but I will also say I'll put a link in the chat that you sent me. But Doc did a recording, and Doc, I'll just let you go. I'll just put it in the chat for anyone who wants to listen to it.
In the way I tend to roll with things is that I'll consult the experts that I know. And so Thomas is an expert out of Germany with several patents and an entrepreneur. Ben is an expert that works in the field with chess.com. And I know enough to get myself in trouble whenever I try and do something. But we had a nice conversation for 45 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes, Lizzie joined us. And we talked about which came first, the chicken or the egg, and how would an AI answer it, and how would the AI get the information to answer it. And so it was a very good conversation, and it leads me to believe that there are some very effective ways that we could use AI in order to make our life extremely easier, especially when we get to collecting information from more conversations. An AI could easily timestamp a conversation with a hashtag, and the hashtags could be collected on different pages of the website. And if somebody wants to talk about anything, the look up in the hashtag, have it send people to the place to go. But having some sort of login system where we can tell which pages students have been looking at and reward students for their 25th page view and their 100th page view and collect the metadata, that's exactly what AI is good for, is setting up ways that we can hold internal contests and really use it. The other thing is that I look at this collection of folks that we have, and I look at our age group, and none of us grew up with a device in our hand. If we needed to pay attention to something and it wasn't within the few hours that television was on that day, we got to deal with something called the outside, and wasn't that a learning experience? And parents weren't like helicopters worrying where the kid was every minute. It didn't have to be, because people next door were Mr. Rogers. But nowadays we got a lot of stuff, and we've got real sharp kids that I think will run with the media track better than we can even conceive. And if we can take our learning and break it into bundles, I think that chemistry could be taught to 2nd to 5th graders, because if they can count to 8 and they can understand the concept of plus and minus charges, ain't no reason why they can't get down the fundamentals of chemistry and the use of balanced equations. And then by the time their hormones kick in high school, and they get to observe chemistry in action rather than trying to learn chemistry on top of those hormones haven't kicked in. And so I think that we'll find more and more uses for the AI that are docile. Things like building a glossary for the terminology that we use in different areas, especially when different areas use the same terminology and don't mean the same things. Like, I don't know, I heard the word cell today, and it wasn't about biology. And so when biological cells are quite a bit different than jail cells, and jail cells are quite a bit different than a group of people that call themselves a cell when they get together. So I really like what Mark is doing with the ELMs. The next idea for ELMs might be topic-driven ELMs where certain speakers get more time. And I also would say that we very much have to be careful to not use language that's over the head of people out there working for a living and being who they are and don't have time to get learned on all the things we might talk about. But we always have to break it down to common sense English. And I know people like me, I don't have much common sense. I have different type of sense. Michael, your hand is up.
That was residual, but that's a great idea to teach chemistry, because a lot of our overheating is chemical related. Thank you.
I was gonna just say, Doc, as a joke, you know, your sense isn't common because it's uncommon. Yeah, Michael, your hand might just be up for Lena. Go ahead, please.
So as a woman in this space, I would just like to honor and invite Shannon and Dawn to speak if they would like to speak and hold space. So I'm trying to do that more in meetings when meetings are male dominated, to kind of be the voice that speaks to allow other women the space. And here Shannon pops up on video. Yay. Shannon, I don't have, that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, thanks, Shannon. Let's hear your voice. Let's bring the feminine in, even though the feminine is so present in all the men here as well. So, but yeah. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Lena. Thank you so much. Hello, gentlemen. And is Dawn's to you two male or female?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not sure, but I know they're listening.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, it doesn't really matter, because what's really wonderful is that we're all here. And we are talking sense. Thank you, Doc Time. I talk a different kind of sense than you do. Some might call it nonsense, but it's playful. And I think that our world has had a large choking kind of dose of not enough humor and playfulness, and we need more of that. And so I like to talk about mom and pop. And mom is the magic in ordinary moments, and pop is the power of people. And when pop listens to mom, we get much further faster. Following divine guidance is the best way for all of us. And I appreciate I appreciate the importance of chemistry in knowing or coming to know how our world is created and made up of all of these different elements. And I'm really grateful that there are people such as you, Doc, who pay attention to these things. We have to have all of these different perspectives on what's going on in order to grok the immensity and possibilities of what hashtag the one we are is. This is the exercise in which we are engaged in this living generation, which includes from the babies to the old people. This is the living, we have the ability to affect what is happening on the earth. That's what we're here for. But we have to figure out how we can work together in order to do so. Conversations like this is where that happens. Jamin, you are a star.
That shines bright.
Yes, he does. But it's about time I get to lay my eyes on you again. I know you've been a busy man, but damn, you've been busy in other places, and I've missed you. It's good to see you again.
So I guess with Shannon's voice and Doc Time's voice and Jason and Mike and everyone present, I don't need an answer, but within the work that we do, I'm on a mission to reconcile the divine feminine masculine within myself and to heal relationships between men and women, and to kind of give birth to a new, more peaceful, reconcilence in wake of the feminist movement, which I was a part of, that ended up getting so violent and retaliative that I left. So I just wanted to, with Shannon's voice, Jamin, Mike, Doc Time, and Mike, and James, all of you, just to remember to always honor both the divine feminine and the masculine within each one of us, within our groups and within the world. Just a friendly reminder. I love you all. That's like the little commercial. The little insert. That's important right now in the work that we are doing and what we're teaching our kids, so very important for little boys, little hurt boys, to rise into their power, and the hurt girls to rise into theirs, so they can come together, because that's a big part of the problem as well. Thanks. And thanks, Shannon.
Shannon, I don't know if you want to speak a little bit more on that. I am going to try to aim for like 15 more minutes or so, but I think we're coming full circle, but it'd be nice to hear more of your thoughts.
Well, no need to elaborate now on that. I know you guys have a purpose for being here with
Oh
these
no, but this is fine too. Like Shannon is amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to be a part of your podcast. I appreciate very much the space made for me. And it wasn't made for me, it's made for all of us, because that's what time is. And when we get to share time, that's when things get fun. We have the ability to choose what we do with our time. And we are developing our facility with time. When I grew up, it was necessary that in my mom's age, she grew up thinking that she had to marry someone and she would be a housewife. And well, that didn't happen. And it did, but it didn't. I don't want to get into it.
Take your time, Shannon. Take your time.
I grew up thinking that I had to get a job and support myself. And so I did that. And that I found that my time was fractured by the corporations into commodifiable pieces. and my life became non-existent, my sanity followed. This doesn't work in humanity, and it is that we are engaged in changing as we learn how to glorify the reality that we get to share.
Aw.
I noticed Melissa came in, even though her compatriot is on his drive there.
Oh, Melissa, I just invoked the divine feminine, and here
And
you
she pops up.
are.
Oh, I got one of those too. Mine throws hearts.
Oh yeah, you and Lena have the magical powers apparently with the heart thing. I can't do it
No,
still.
mine went away, and this is so beautiful. I'm glad I did a call out for a second, and I'm getting stronger in my intuition when and where to do that. And I was called to, like, to align. We live, finding the balance between both in self and each other and other. I think when we all are so in our heads, it's so important to remember, to realign with balance. And I mentioned to somebody we need to slow down, and they mentioned, no, we can't slow down, it's the meta crisis. So I use this example, which I'm going to stick with. When a predatorial cat, like when he's about to hunt, that adorable moment when the cat like moves back 2 inches, wiggles his butt, and like right before he's about to pounce. And I think that's what the divine feminine brings in. It gives that little traction back, right? With the ability to observe. And then bam, the divine masculine comes in and goes for the kill, goes for the, and brings home the meal, brings home, so we're all connected, but slowing down doesn't mean losing momentum. And I think the divine feminine reminds us of that, right? That we can be soft and nurturing, and we can be divine and fearless and powerful and roar. And that balance is what's gonna give us the strength to move forward. Oh, Shannon, your smile.
I do have a smile. And this smile is especially for an upcoming event that is happening that I want to tell you guys about. On Monday, at 11 o'clock Pacific time, we are going to be having a CE5 meditation practice brought to us by Asher Lyman. Now, he was on Humanity Rising about a week ago, and he gave us a sample of what he does. Now, I don't know if you know, but CE5 refers to close encounters of the 5th kind. The 5th kind is human-initiated contact with non-human intelligences.
Shannon, we have a bit of time here for the recording. Do you want to explain that a little more clearly? Because I know that we understand that. Most people don't even understand what that means.
Okay, well, it's CE5. If you remember the old movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they talked about abductions. Well, then there was of the 4th kind, and I don't even know what that is. But the 5th kind is where we invite non-human intelligences to communicate with us. So we are the initiators of
And it usually involves meditation, right? Or some sort of, yes, thank you.
Because we don't have a common language. I don't imagine somebody from Alpha Centauri coming here and speaking English. And Marco's screen has those beautiful trees on it. Do you know that trees can actually talk to you?
Yes, ma'am.
These are the kinds of non-human intelligences that these meditations that Asher is bringing us that help. We need to have coherence and calm quietness inside in order to be able to have these kind of conversations. And so on Monday, during the time of the eclipse, we're going to be engaged in meditation, opening our hearts and our minds to the possibilities of communication with what is coming through the portal of the moon over the sun.
What's
What?
If I may, no, I was just gonna ask if Jamin wanted to find this as a good clipping point for The Start Is Near, and then we can go into the afterglow here and keep this conversation going.
Yeah, sure. I would say whenever Marco is ready to end the present recording and then start a new one, I'll leave it in Marco's hands.
I think we're in capable hands. I imagine he is he's finding his way to his computer right now.
Okay. Very
Here,
good.
as
There
always,
it
Yeah,
is.
go ahead, Marco.
if I'm not in you, I'm in the background lurking, listening somewhere.
my, yeah.
Well, final thoughts, Marco or Jamin, before we wind this one down, and then we'll get into the afterglow.
All I can say right now is I'm happy to see all the faces that are here. Happy to know that there are others that wish they could be here right now and can't be for whatever reason, and that's okay because everything happens in divine time. And as I believe we're on divine time right now, I'm ready to end the recording unless I see a hand or hear a voice. Jamin, please.
Jamin.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say I think we've done an outstanding job building kind of a foundation for this herd of Trojan horses to, speed through the entry gates once we blast open the mind. And I'm just really proud of us and excited to continue the conversation in the afterglow. Thank you all for being here.
I
Love to
don't
all.
think we're Trojan horses. There's nothing negative in us. I think we need a better simile, Jamin.
Okay, let's come up with a better one. But I think
Pegasus, a flight of Pegasuses.
Pegasi.
Oh, yeah, well, hold
Pegasi.
on, Doc Time. What's the alliteration on that? On Pegasi?
That's the perfect answer.
Pegasus.
I think it's one Pegasus and another four that looks like him.
James.
Well,
Very good.
I will say one more note. Sorry, one more note on my side. Thank you, Lena, for bringing in, the voice of the divine feminine. And I know it's small today, but not by any choice. It's like y'all have to get together and show up too.
I'm actually creating a group for women, a wisdom-based group for women who are involved in collective consciousness circles and how to empower and speak up and bring the wisdom in a way that it can be coherent. And it's called the Divine Feminine Protocol. And I'm going to activate and start teaching that workshop soon so that we can really align our powers and start moving forward. It's what I'm currently working on. So yeah. And Shannon, I wanted to tell you, my mom was a PhD in physics and really amazingly brilliant woman. And she always simultaneously, she would invoke the aliens and read prophecy like Nostradamus. And she believed that prayer and like our meditation spaces was exactly what would bring in the aliens. And she also talked about like inanimate like trees and like the forest being one of the most divine places for channeling, but to the degree that she moved us from New York City off grid upstate New York so we could all do the work together. So
We could end this by the three of us being on video together.
Oh.
Oh yeah, well, I'm on mute around there, but here we go. Proof of life for Michael and Marco and
but yeah,
Look at that.
there we go.
aw,
We're actually all three together.
Michael,
Well, I
get
see
these in
two
here.
of you.
aw.
Well, that was so fun. Look at you. There you are.
Well, Marco, if you want to end that then, and we will, yeah.
Oh, I thought you ended the
And
podcast. That's why I told my story. Sorry.
Fun and games. You guys.
We can
having
cut it
such
off at the
fun.
end, don't worry.
Yeah.
I lost it.
Oh, don't do that, Marco.
No, lost the button.
That's what I'm saying.